Yeah, hello. Yeah, Mike's online. I'm Josh Petter. I'm the urban forest planner for the city of Burien. I guess I can do the slide thing here. Oh, too much. So yeah, I'm here tonight to talk about some urban forestry planning that we've been doing with the Green Burien Partnership. As Hugo mentioned, the last day to sign up for our tree giveaway is tomorrow at 6 p.m. King Conservation District is funding this. You can get up to 2 free trees. You've got to pick them up at Green Burien Day on October 18th, and you can just Google Burien tree giveaway if you're interested, and it should pop right up. Okay, and so our last major urban forestry planning initiative was in 2018, and that was actually funded by the Port of Seattle. And we got the Green Burien Partnership Urban Forest Stewardship Plan as a result of that planning initiative, which is pictured up here. One of the main goals or initiatives that came out of that or was in the plan is setting the goal of 40% canopy cover by 2038. That's the map that you see up here with the dark green being the tree canopy cover. We recently got a grant from the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, and that is going to help us benchmark our urban forestry program against their standard. While it's not really a revision of this plan, it does give us an opportunity to check in on where we're at and kind of where we may want to go. And I will pass it over to Mike from SFI to talk a little bit more about the grant and the standard.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate the time to speak tonight. So I'm Mike Martini, the Director of Urban Community Forestry here at Sustainable Forestry Initiative. I'm a certified arborist, certified urban professional, and I have a couple of different licensed tree experts in different states. And in my role at SFI, I help communities and oversee our grants program in the U.S. with this grant program that we have through the USDA Urban and Community Forestry Program. Next slide. So a little bit about SFI. We are an international nonprofit that believes through sustainable management of forests that we can collaboratively have forest-focused collaboration and sustain our forestry in all aspects. We're a little bit more known for all of our standards in forest management for lumber and chain of custody of wood products, paper products, and approvals of that. Next slide. About 4 years ago, we expanded into the urban and community forestry realm. So in partnership with a lot of well-known urban forestry partners that you see at the bottom of the slide here, SFI, with the leadership of Paul Johnson, created this standard to help understand what sustainably urban forests would look like. So this was done with a task force group of 22 members, which was professionals in the field, which included organizations and cities and municipalities, to help build this comprehensive report. And the grant that you will be receiving from us and have been working on is to do a benchmark against this and to understand how you internally evaluate to a sustainable program. So the nice thing about this standard is it's an internal snapshot. It is not comparing you to another organization, but what you're doing right now as a snapshot in time and where you can progressively go. The grant is to give you the ability to hire a contractor, which Josh is working with, Diamond Head Consulting, to start getting reporting ideas, do some engagement internally with staff and externally to get the idea of how you would like to proceed forward with sustainably managing your urban forest and finding maybe those potential gaps and errors that you've seen in your urban forest so you can build capacity into the future. So it's a revisit of that plan and to evaluate where you are now so that way you can make future plans into the future. Next slide. So it's going to help you get what is your priority. So how this will work, next slide, is that there are 16 different objectives in this standard. Each one has a subcategory called indicators. So in total, there will be 109 different indicators that you will be benchmarking against and understanding where you meet. So these indicators are around different aspects as you outlined in these objectives, which range from community engagement, the natural world of ecology, to your bread and butter urban forestry program, to recognizing indigenous relations and people of that orientation. So we really want to make sure that this is comprehensive and you understand what a full, robust program looks like. So these different indicators will be met. And how this works is that through the certification process that SFI has created and how you use this is that it has to be relevant to what your city is currently doing. So this was built to be a robust program for different sized organizations, from a New York City down to the city of Burien, down to a homeowners association. It was written in the mind that this is a flexible standard. So you just show evidence that you've made efforts and have met that indicator in this objective. It is not a prescriptive way of doing things, it's a descriptive way. It outlines an idea and a concept that what you should be doing for sustainable forestry, and then you have to gather the evidence to show that you are meeting that particular indicator and how you're doing so. Because we know urban forests all over the world may be managed similarly to best management practices, but the practices of doing it has to be flexible because each region faces their own natural disasters. Each one has their own species that they have to deal with. So this is a flexible standard to understand where an organization is. Next slide. And through this process as well, there are funds to do a preliminary idea if you could get certified. So part of the grant is to hire an audit, a certification body, which I'll explain on the next slide, that will come out and do a desk audit. They review the documentation that Diamond Head Consulting is putting together on the city and give you an idea if you could certify your urban forest. And with SFI, we have a couple different ways of doing this. There is the full standard, which is all 109 indicators, but we've created some themes. These themes are ways to lump the work you're doing into ideas to fixate on a smaller step forward. Because a lot of organizations have worked with Tree City USC, Trees of the World, which are 4 to 5 different requirements versus a full 109. So our themes range from a 30 to 48 indicators. So that's a small stepping stone to understand where you're at. And our urban forest improvement one is primarily what an urban forest program is robustly doing once they have an established program. Next slide. And certification provides a lot of credibility. So it's not just SFI, it's not just you saying you're doing this. It is an auditor that comes out and gives you that notability of saying you have done this. They're very black and white. You've met it or you've not. So they're giving you that credibility that the city is doing this and that you've met the requirements to become a sustainable urban forest. It's an investment. So when you're writing grant opportunities and other urban forestry programs, if you're certified, you can indicate that you are doing 109 different things each year to keep your urban forest up and running. It makes you more desirable in donors' eyes. So they see that you've already put in the effort and you're looking to keep building it forward. It's also continual improvement. With the certification process, it doesn't stop it at one and done. It's continually doing checkups. So the certification process, if you decide to enter that, is a 5-year commitment. And each year there are surveillance audits that come with this. And again, this is not part of the grant itself. This is the next step after the grant. The grant is just paying for the idea of benchmarking against it, seeing where you're at, and doing a preliminary desk audit to see if you can move into the certification process. And of course, this will show collaborative leadership, because in this process for this, it's not all on just Josh to make sure he's doing the 109 things. He's going to have to talk to the different departments, the parks, the Port Authority. What is happening? How are the trees being managed? It starts to break down a lot more of the silos to understand how the urban forest management is across different departments, across different people's management levels. So that way you can start to build a profile to see what are the needs, what do you need to build capacity, and talk about the different ideas to achieve that more long-term. Next slide. And who verifies this? Like I said, this is third-party certified. So SFI creates the standard itself and helps monitor those every 5 years. We do an update to these. So we are going to be getting into a new update in the next few years. However, we don't do the verification. There are third-party auditors that you see on the screen here that get hired to do this type of work. They are held to ANSI standards in the US and other standards in Canada. But they meet those standards to come out and do those auditing processes. They do an on-the-ground inspection to make sure that you're verifying what you said you did is accomplished. And that would be the next step after the grant program if the city decided to pursue that. Next slide. So just as about thanking you and having the opportunity again to speak, happy to take questions and I'm at this time.
Any questions? Do you have one? Go ahead, Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Martini, and thank you, Josh. First, I guess, how much is the grant and who applied for it? Was that something that was done on your own or with team? I'm just really excited about getting funds to invest in our tree, so I'm grateful for it. Just curious as to that.
I think the grant is 65,000.
Yes.
And we applied for it as like the Green Burien Partnership Team. I've been the primary contact though with Diamond Head Consulting, and we will be back probably in like May 2026 with Diamond Head Consulting to share the results.
Thank you very much, man. This is fantastic work, as it's hard to find funding to do anything nowadays. So 65,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but it's great, and it goes into the health of our canopy. So thank you.
Deputy Mayor Moore?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. And I guess my question is going to be just the follow-up and seeing how this would potentially roll into any next steps. Like, I understand that achieving those benchmarks is a way of making ourselves more qualified for future grant applications or for other opportunities. But I'm just curious what some of those opportunities are that this is kind of positioning us for.
Absolutely. So other foundations that do kind of grant programs are starting to look at this as a way to understand what people are investing in. That there's always the question in a lot of grant programs that's saying, what have you done to prove that you've done projects in this area? And this is a good way to indicate you've done projects in 109 different ways. Community engagement, we do a lot of community engagement in urban forestry. We recognize Indigenous people's rights through the work we're doing. You're talking about not only the air, the water, and the ecology of the natural lands. Protecting sites is in this. So there's a different mechanism for each way to talk about how in different perspectives, depending on the funder, how you're showcasing what you're doing. So now you're taking all the work that you've already done and kind of compiling it into a dossier in one place so that people can pull from it to say, this is how we can showcase our work and this is how we can show we're strong because we've done these types of projects before.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that, that it's a really good opportunity for us to, look at a standard that's not just a Burien standard, but benchmark ourselves against something that was created by SFI. And then kind of as Mike mentioned earlier in his presentation, it's not just me. It's like I talked to Parks, I talked to Public Works. It's a really good opportunity to look at it top to bottom. So it's a good just like health checkup for our program to see kind of where we're at. And that credential would show a lot, but also this benchmarking is really helpful for us in terms of how we're just thinking about planning in the future.
Okay, well, thank you both very much.